Welcome, Bears fans, to the Chicago Bears film review presented by the Bear Report. I'm your host, Andrew Freeman, a writer and contributor for the Bear Report, and today I'll be going over some of the key plays from the Bears' 34-14 loss to the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday Night Football to kick off their 2021 season. This was a tough game to watch, although in a way it went kind of exactly how I expected it to. The Bears, they hung in for a while in this one, but eventually the talent gap and to an extent, the coaching gap between these two teams really started the show. And the Rams, they just pulled away late in the fourth quarter, which made things not as interesting late. So for this film room today, and what I'll be doing for this episode, what I'm going to do is break down some plays that stood out to me in this one, similar to what I did in the preseason. We're going to look at the good and the bad and everything in between before at the end where I'll break down what I want to see moving forward from this team as we head into week 2 before the Bears face off against the Cincinnati Bengals at home. Before getting started, if you're a fan of these film reviews, make sure to like and subscribe below. We're planning on delivering a lot of film work on YouTube this season, and it's always fun to discuss and analyze football, no matter the outcome of these games, whether the Bears win or lose, although you would prefer a Bears win, absolutely there. But, also make sure to follow the Bear Report on Twitter and social media at Bear Report. As for me, you can follow me at AJFreeman25 on Twitter. So without further ado, let's get into breaking down this game here, starting with some of the good things I saw. So I'll pull up the film right here. All right, here we go. So in terms of some of the good things I saw in this game, really the one thing that stood out to me was the running game for the Bears. And I thought, the Bears, they did a nice job of running the ball efficiently in this game. They had 121 yards on design runs in this one. And a lot of the reasons for that came from a lot of creative scheming to create holes and find advantages in the run game. But I think the Bears, they also took advantage of the Rams' game plan, which was to use a lot of light boxes. And the Rams' defense, one of the key staples of their defense is they like to run a lot of too high shells, which is what you're seeing right here. And that leads to a lot of light boxes where there's not a lot of guys, not a lot of defenders in the box that can defend the run. So the Bears, on a lot of these plays, they already had a built-in numbers advantage to work with here. So that was a beneficial thing for the Bears' run game in this game that they took advantage of. And basically, their game plan in this one was to run the ball effectively, throw the ball underneath because the Rams were taking away pretty much everything they wanted to do going deep, and basically have a patient offense where they would have to, dink and dunk their way down the field. And to attack this Rams defense, it's kind of the way you have to go about it. And I know a lot of Bears fans were, mad about the fact that, where are all the deep shots? We added all this speed at wide receiver in the offseason. Why aren't we taking shots down the field? The furthest throw I think Andy Dalton threw was 15 yards down the field, I believe. So, again, a lot of dinking and dunking in this game. Well, a lot of that was by design because of the fact that the Rams, this is what their defense does. They take away everything deep and they force you to go underneath in the passing game, and they dare you to run the ball on them. And that's what the Bears did, and they did so at a very efficient rate. So this first play here comes from the first drive of the game, the second play from scrimmage in this one, and this is the big run that David Montgomery had here where the Bears, they're going to be running a basic outside zone blocking scheme. This is something that they installed last season and utilized it a lot down the stretch, and this time we're seeing it here early on in 2021. So outside zone, basically what the offensive line is doing is everyone's taking a step to the left and blocking the first man that comes into their zone. And basically what David Montgomery is doing is going to be getting the handoff going left. And what he's going to do here is he's going to find the cutback lane that opens up here to get a big gain in the run game. So we're going to let it play here from this angle. So everyone goes to the left here, light box, big hole, and then David Montgomery breaks a tackle. And this is where David Montgomery shows the speed that he worked on over the offseason. So nice job by David Montgomery there to kind of get that extra burst. And I want you to pay attention to James Daniels and Jermaine Ifedi in this play. I boxed them in right here. They do a really nice job here of opening up this cutback lane for David Montgomery. Daniels, I wouldn't say it's a great block on Aaron Donald, but again, this is Aaron Donald we're talking about here. He's the best defensive player in the game right now. Daniels does just enough to occupy Donald, long enough to open up a hole. Meanwhile, we're going to see the Rams edge defender here against Jermaine Ifedi. He's going to work his way upfield in this one. Ifedi does a nice job of just opening up his hips and opening up that gap to where he can seal off that hole for David Montgomery to run through here. So we're going to let this play once again. Again, pay attention to James Daniels and Jermaine Ifedi. So we see right here, James Daniels, nice job of occupying Aaron Donald just long enough. Jermaine Ifedi, I wouldn't say it's a great block by either of these two, but it opens it up just enough to where David Montgomery can find that crease in the hole there and take advantage of it. Nice play overall to start this game off. All right, that brings us to the second drive of the game here, where this was a very interesting scheme that I found here, where the Bears are going to run a trap block here. So I'll let it play first, and then we'll get to the design of this one here. So we see pre-snap motion there, and then David Montgomery, we see a huge hole open up here. So how did that happen? How did the Bears generate a huge hole here? Because, you know, the Bears, when you look at it here, the Bears don't have a talent. There's not a talent gap here between the Bears offensive line and the Rams defensive line. The Rams defensive line, I think, is a more talented unit than the Bears offensive line. Like, the Bears offensive line did not have a great game in this one, in my opinion, which we'll get to in a little bit here. But I thought they did, again, this is a great job of scheming this to where, you know, having Cody Whitehair block Aaron Donald here one-on-one is probably not the best matchup in the world, you would think. So what the Bears are doing is, you know, they're going to have a scheme here where, you know, they're going to have it to where on the right side, it's basically one-on-one, hat-to-hat here. James Daniels on the guard, Ifedi to the edge player, Sam Mustipher on the nose, one-on-one blocks right there. And instead of blocking Aaron Donald with Cody Whitehair, he's going to work his way to the linebacker. Jason Pierce is going to kick out the edge player on the left side over here, and then J.P. Holtz is going to work his way here while they let Aaron Donald move upfield. J.P. Holtz is going to take Aaron Donald and block him just enough to where he can't get into the backfield and blow up David Montgomery for a loss of gain here. And to add on top of that, they add a pre-snap motion here with Darnell Mooney as the wide receiver cutting across the formation here to kind of freeze the linebacker and give Cody Whitehair just enough time and a good enough angle to get to the linebacker and seal him off so that David Montgomery has a huge hole to open up here and to work with here. So we're going to let it play here once again. And we're going to see they're going to let Cody Whitehair get to the second level. Darnell Mooney comes in motion, freezes the linebacker for just a second. J.P. Holtz gets Aaron Donald, occupies him just long enough, and David Montgomery by him before he can even do anything. So that's a nice design by the Bears offensive coordinators and their coaching staff here to get an easy – it's basically free yardage here. And with the Rams having light boxes like they do, again, they can build in these natural numbers advantages in the run game. You're going to see it right here in this play where the Bears, they have a bubble motion, and what this play is going to end up being is an RPO. So the Bears, they run a lot of these RPOs, and for those who don't know the terminology here, an RPO is a run-pass option, to where it's a called run play here, but if the defense gives them a certain look based off the read defender that they're reading, play can convert into a quick pass here to get the ball out onto the edge, onto the perimeter, so that the wide receiver can pick up a quick chunk of yardage. It's basically basically an extension of the running game with the quick passing game. If there's a numbers disadvantage in the box, is what basically the gist of the concept is. So the Bears, they have an orbit motion with Darnell Mooney here. He's going to go out and get a screen pass here, and I'm going to let it play. So upon the snap, here's the read. So Andy Dalton is reading the safety right here. So if the safety goes with Darnell Mooney on the bubble screen here, Andy Dalton's going to hand the ball off. If the safety crashes down to get into the run action here, Andy Dalton's going to pull this ball, throw the quick screen to Darnell Mooney, who's going to turn upfield and hopefully get a couple yards with the wide receivers blocking the cornerbacks on the edge right there. And if you're counting here, again, look at how light the box is here that the Rams are working with. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in the box. And even then, that linebacker is way off the line of scrimmage. So automatically, you're looking at this here, and you can easily see that, you know, the Bears, they have 6 blockers for 6 players in the box. They have an automatic numbers advantage here, to where basically they're going to double team the nose tackle here, and David Montgomery's going to have a one-on-one with the linebacker here in space. And David Montgomery, if you know anything about him and his ability to break tackles, that's a matchup that you'll take any day of the week. So we're going to show it here from this angle and then from the tight angle here. And again, this is just easy free yardage here on first and second down. This is what you want to do on first and second down when you get these types of looks. Get the RPO game going. Get yourself some free yardage. And that's exactly what the Bears did. Again, David Montgomery and a linebacker, I'm taking that matchup any day of the week, especially against the Rams linebackers, who aren't particularly talented. But the Rams, they find ways to work around them with their defensive scheme. But anyway, this is, again, to finalize all the positives I saw from David Montgomery in this one. This is a play where I don't really want to highlight anything scheme-wise here. Let's just marvel at David Montgomery's ability to break tackles because the Bears offensive line doesn't block anybody on this play. And David Montgomery, you see it right here, he breaks 3 tackles to get into the end zone here. Just ridiculous stuff. And we're going to see it right here. So I'm going to pause it before we snap, but I want you to pay attention to Sam Mustipher, Cody Whitehair, and Jermaine Ifedi against Aaron Donald. All 3 of those guys are basically going to blow their blocks. And again, they don't block anybody here. James Daniels is the only one that blocks anybody on this play, and he's doing so at the second level. So everyone at the point of attack on this play for the Bears offensive line whiffs on their block. So with a normal running back, this play would be a tackle for loss or at best a gain for 0 yardage, basically getting back to the line of scrimmage maybe. But David Montgomery just shows off his special ability to break tackles, his special contact balance. I mean, right there, that's Aaron Donald right there that he's breaking this tackle in the backfield. And guess what? There's 2 more Rams defenders coming right after him because, again, it's a goal line play. The formation is condensed. All the defenders are going to be right there. And it doesn't matter because David Montgomery is that special of a running back in terms of his contact balance and his ability to break tackles. There are some other weaknesses in David Montgomery's game, such as the speed, which we did see is improved in this game with that big play I showed at the beginning. But this is where David Montgomery makes his living off of. These plays right here where he breaks tackles in the backfield and gets these extra yardage, grinds things out. So this is another touchdown run that the Bears had in this game with Justin Fields getting into the game here. The Bears, they worked in a couple of these plays to get Justin Fields involved in this game, a couple of these plays where a lot of it was to basically just give the Rams defense a different look. Now, I don't know why. Personally, I would just prefer if they just started Justin Fields personally because as we'll get to with the passing game, there are some limitations with Andy Dalton, which we'll get to here. But, Fields, I mean, this is something pulled straight from the Ravens playbook with what they do with Lamar Jackson in the running game here. So what we're getting is basically an outside zone to the left here where it's a read option. I think it's either a read option or a designed pull from Justin Fields in this play. What I mean by that, I boxed the read defender here. I think that's Leonard Floyd on the edge right that Justin Fields is supposed to read. So basically, it's just if Leonard Floyd crashes on this play, he's giving the ball to Damian Williams, the running back here, for a run play here. If Leonard Floyd doesn't crash, or if he does crash, I should rephrase that. If he crashes here, Justin Fields pulls the ball, and he's getting out on the edge with J.P. Holtz as a lead blocker here on this play and score a touchdown. If Leonard Floyd doesn't crash his play, he's handing off to the running back, and hopefully there's a numbers advantage in the running game with your outside zone game right there. And then you have Darnell Mooney coming in motion here. What makes me think that this was designed and not a read option is the fact that Darnell Mooney is coming in motion to that side of the field. Darnell Mooney brings you very little value as a blocker, I would assume here. So this would have to be an action where they're trying to freeze the linebackers and safeties at the second level to open up that side of the field. Because Justin Fields, he's so damn fast that he can get around Leonard Floyd with ease on this play. And we're going to see that here where Justin Fields, he just runs around Leonard Floyd. And Leonard Floyd, he's an athletic defender, but just does a really nice job here. And J.P. Holtz is really the player to watch in this play because it's his block that really helps this thing become a touchdown. So I want you to watch number 81, J.P. Holtz. He's lined up to the left of Justin Fields on this play. J.P. Holtz, while he's not maybe the receiving threat, you'd like to see at the tight end position, he's a very good, versatile blocker for this offense. And just watch him here. So what he's going to do on this play, J.P. Holtz, is he's going to occupy Leonard Floyd just enough to freeze him and allow Justin Fields to get on the edge before he takes out the defensive back on this play. So watch this one more time. J.P. Holtz occupies Leonard Floyd just long enough to slow him down, and then he just washes out the defender right here. And that creates an easy touchdown for Justin Fields. Really nice stuff from there. So a good example of good scheme, good execution, good blocking, and then Fields just having that natural, 4.4 speed playmaking, athletic ability to make something happen. Whereas, you're not running that play with Andy Dalton, that's for sure. So really nice play all around here. Good touchdown for Justin Fields here to start his career. So good start for him. Let's see more of that going forward, which I'll get to in a little bit. But in terms of the one positive I have for the defense, this is the only positive I'm showing for the defensive side of the ball because let's be honest, there were not many positives. It was a brutal showing for the defense as a whole, but this was really the one positive I'll show here. And what is going to happen. I didn't diagram it here for you guys, but this is a fake screenplay that the Rams are running here. I think this is a second down, I believe. So it's going to be a fake screen where the two outside receivers on the top of the screen, they're running vertical routes. And what they're going to be doing is trying to sell this bubble screen to the slot. I think it's Cooper Kupp in the slot. And the Bears secondary, for probably the only time in the game, actually do a nice job of covering this thing, whereas they didn't cover anything all night long, by the way. Like, the coverage unit was rough in this game. The secondary did not have a good day whatsoever, which we'll get to later on. But on this particular play, they do a nice enough job of forcing Matthew Stafford to hold onto the ball a split second longer. And that opens things up for Akeem Hicks to come in here and basically demolish his man and get the sack. So you're going to see here, they covered up nice enough. Now, it's not perfect coverage. I think Stafford's still going to hit that wide receiver in the seam ball here because he did get Eddie Jackson, I believe that is, turned around a little bit. But, again, it's good enough. They're not screaming wide open like we saw later in the game. And then we're going to see in the tight here, watch Akeem Hicks in his pass rush. Like, Akeem Hicks had himself a really good game. He was dominant against the interior in this one. He was really the one player I thought on defense, like him and Jalen Johnson were really the only two players I thought had good games in this one. Even, I thought Robert Quinn actually had a pretty solid game, not going to lie, as well, compared to what my expectations were for him. Like, Robert Quinn wasn't too bad in this one. His pass rush, he looked pretty good as a pass rusher. He looked a lot more explosive, I thought, than last year, which could merit some argument that he was dealing with. It was rumored that he was dealing with a drop foot injury all of last year, which could have gotten rid of some of the explosiveness that he had before when he had a big year in Dallas the year before he was signed here. He looked a lot more explosive tonight, but Akeem Hicks here, he just washes the center here, just way too much power, way too much size, and just kicks ass in this play. So Akeem Hicks, he looks really good right now. I had some concerns about him going into the year because he did show some signs of age and decline late last season, but he looked good on this one. So I'm excited to see Keem Hicks. He's going to a contract year, and the Bears, they haven't decided to extend him yet. But we'll see what he does because he's going to be playing for a new deal with the Bears potentially. And I think he's someone that could have a big year with the Bears this season. All right, let's get to some of the mixed things. And, again, a lot of the talk on Bears social media and Bears Twitter and all that was, why aren't the Bears attacking down the field? You added all this speed in the offseason at wide receiver. Why are we selling for so many, check downs and curl routes and all this stuff here that, isn't using our speed to its biggest advantage? Well, part of that was the game plan because the Bears offensive line couldn't block anybody in pass protection. Like, Aaron Donald absolutely dominated the interior offensive line in this game. He was fantastic in this game. Like, Cody Whitehair, James Daniels could not block Aaron Donald, and they struggled with most of the other Rams pass rushers as well. It wasn't just Aaron Donald wrecking this game, although he did wreck this game. But the Rams pass rush in general was very good in this game, and the Bears had no answers for them. So that's part of the reason why they called a lot of quick stuff underneath and a lot of curls and short hitches and all that stuff. A lot of boring football, as a lot of fans would call it, considering what they have at speed here. But that doesn't mean they didn't try to have their fair share of deep shots in this game. And we're going to see right here on this play, we're going to get to the diagram right here, where the Bears are calling, essentially, this is a cover 4 beater right here. So essentially, you have 3 curls right here with the 2 wide receivers on the top, Cole Kmet in the slot, and then Darnell Mooney on the bottom of the screen right here. So Darnell Mooney is running a double move where he's going to fake the inside curl and then go up into the, I wouldn't say the seam here, but he's going to go up, in and out and go up for the vertical shot on this play. And what the Bears are trying to do here is, because the Rams love to run a lot of cover 4. They're already in a cover 4 shell right now. What's going to happen on this play is the Bears are trying to get that safety on the bottom of the screen, that safety right here, lined up alongside Kmet. They're trying to get Kmet to take the safety and drag him down out of the play so that Darnell Mooney can run that vertical double move over the top of that with inside leverage from the corner, and that basically will open up a large throwing window for Andy Dalton to throw a vertical shot to. I think that's what they're trying to look for on this play, and we're going to see it from the tight that Andy Dalton does look that way, but he gets spooked off of it. Why does he get spooked off of it? Well, that's because Jillian Ramsay is guarding Darnell Mooney on this play, and Jillian Ramsay, it's debatable whether this is open or not. Like, you're going to see, it's going to be tough to tell, but Jillian Ramsay, he was already 10 yards off the line of scrimmage when the play started, but he's got a lot of cushion on this play. So theoretically speaking, like the play, Darnell Mooney's route, it's there. If Andy Dalton throws this to the inside, I think there's a big completion right there. The thing is, Jillian Ramsay was screwing up their game plan all night long, and he was getting pass deflection after pass deflection and blowing things up all night long. But I think Andy Dalton just got spooked out of making this throw because Darnell Mooney is so fast that I think if you throw this ball, the ball with enough air under it to the inside, I think there's a completion right there. So Andy Dalton, I mean, you can say what you want about him. Andy Dalton did what I expected him to be. He was efficient going through his reads. He got the ball out quick. He generally threw the ball accurately, although wasn't 100% great in terms of the accuracy in this one. But I thought there were a few opportunities right here where he missed out on making some deep shots in this one. This is one of them where I thought it was pretty close, where he could have made a throw here. Maybe if Justin Fields is in the game, he's taking that deep shot. He's taking the chance here because this was a third down play. You have to get the ball beyond the sticks here. And instead, we're going to see here that Andy Dalton does a nice job of going through his reads here. So we're going to see it from the tight, from this angle. You're going to see he looks the way towards Darnell Mooney's side of the field, and he's going to shrug that off. He was thinking about making that throw, and there's enough pass protection here for him to get that ball off. I honestly think that he was just spooked with Jillian Ramsay having that deep leverage on him to where he wasn't comfortable taking that shot because Jillian Ramsay was just wrecking shit for them. Excuse my language, but he was wrecking things all night long in this game. So Andy Dalton, from there, he does a nice job of going through his reads. And we saw that a lot, attacking the curls on the sidelines. Against cover 4 coverages, the curls and the hitches along the sidelines are going to be wide open. And that's what the Bears expose all day. So Andy Dalton does a nice job of then. If he's not comfortable with that read right there, going deep to Darnell Mooney, get to the hitch and the curl route on the outside where the wide receiver is going to have a natural advantage against the cover 4 cornerback right there and take advantage of the free yardage right there. This is another deep shot right here that the Bears looking at here. So what we have here is a double post concept with a wheel from Cole Kmet at the top of the screen. Again, this is another cover 4 beater right here where you're trying to, with that poster out the top of the screen, you're trying to take the safety and the cornerback out of the play to get Cole Kmet on the wheel route here. But as we're going to see, the Rams play this pretty much perfectly here. They pass off the route perfectly, and Andy Dalton has no choice but to check this down to Allen Robinson underneath. So you can see it right here. The Rams have this covered up. Like the Bears are trying to get down the field a little bit here and take some chances, but the Rams are just covering this perfectly. And again, with the offensive line as it is, like Andy Dalton is not going to have a lot of time to sit in the pocket and get to these reads right here. So he just checks the ball down to Allen Robinson, who picks up a lot of yards after the catch. Like that's a nice gain right there. You can't really fault Andy Dalton or Matt Nagy for not calling deep shots here on this play because he's calling deep shots. They're trying to look for it. It just isn't there. So you credit them with getting that, yards after the catch, getting that yak, getting a first down here. So that's a nice play right here. But this is one where I feel like this is, to me, a little bit of an offensive line feeling on this one because I feel like the play is there, but there just wasn't enough time for there to be a development here. And on this play, again, it's the same type of concept here where we have, I wouldn't say it's a post, but it's a deep curl with a wheel route from the slot receiver. So 2 deep curls on this play. And then Cole Kmet's running a drag route underneath as basically the dump off point if nothing's there. And what they're looking to do here is they're looking to get Marquise Goodwin in the slot on the wheel route here. And it actually, like, if the offensive line was able to hold up on this play, it actually works. Unfortunately, there just isn't enough time for Andy Dalton to get to that read, so he has to dump it off to Cole Kmet. So we're going to see right here. Look at this. Look at it right here. This is the point where Cole Kmet gets the ball right here. So you could argue that, yeah, the cornerback is kind of sitting back right here. Again, the Rams, they're sitting back in coverage. They're not letting you get too deep on them. But I feel like if the offensive line would have held up just a little bit longer, Marquise Goodwin, with his speed, could have gotten deep on them on this play. I think that was definitely possible. There just wasn't enough time to get to that there. So Andy Dalton has to get the check down here. So we're going to see from the tight here, the offensive line just breaks down in this play. So Aaron Donald blowing this play up. Watch him against James Daniels and Jermaine Ifedi right here. And, yeah, Aaron Donald just gets right into there. I mean, Sam Mustipher on this play gets blown up too. So it wasn't just James Daniels against Aaron Donald. Watch Sam Mustipher at center. He doesn't do a great job on this play. He gets blown back pretty bad on that play. So the pocket just collapses way too quick right here. So Andy Dalton Andy Dalton, at this stage of his career, he's not going to be the guy that stands in the pocket and waits for things to develop. He's going to try to get the ball out of his hands as quick as possible. And that's been the theme for him over the past few years. And Andy Dalton's the same thing there. But again, it's a nice play on first down. Gets a first down right there and gets a lot of yards at the catch. So that was some of the mixed things. Some of the things I'm trying to show here of, again, the Bears' general game plan was to attack underneath and take what the defense was giving them in this game, because the Rams were very aggressive at taking away everything deep, and because they knew they had a great pass rush in this game, that they were going to get pressure, and they were going to try and force the Bears to dink and dunk their way down the field, and that's what the Bears did. That was their general game plan. But just wanted to show that they did try to do some things to get down the field with some cover 4 beaters. They just didn't work because the Rams were covering them perfectly, or Andy Dalton just not being aggressive in this game, or just because the offensive line was not giving them time to execute these concepts and give them enough time to develop down the field. So again, there's a lot of reasons why the Bears weren't getting down the field in this game. And, it came back to bite them because, if you're going to have that dink and dunk approach and you're going to run the ball a lot against this defense, you need to be perfect. And as we're going to see right here, as we get to some of the bad in this game, the Bears were not perfect, at all. So this is the unfortunate interception from Andy Dalton on the first drive of the game right here after Cole Kmet's false start. What we have here is basically 4 curls with a post from Darnell Mooney, and it's a high to low read on this play. So basically what they're trying to do on this play is Cole Kmet, he's trying to draw that middle safety underneath, and they're going to try to attack it where that post is going to create a throwing window with Cole Kmet running that curl route to the middle of the field here, open up enough of a window to hit Darnell Mooney for the touchdown. If they play off and play that post against Darnell Mooney, maybe that opens up the curl then for Cole Kmet over the middle of the field. That's basically what they're trying to work here on this play. Unfortunately, Andy Dalton throws a really bad throw on this play. I don't know where he's throwing this ball. So as you can see right here, there's not much of a throwing window to get this ball through, and Andy Dalton throws it behind Darnell Mooney. So I'm not sure. So look at where Darnell Mooney is in comparison to where the throw is getting batted down. You can see the linebacker bang down the ball and tipping it up in the air right here. So compare that to where Andy Dalton's supposed to go with this ball, which is, I would think, in my opinion, throwing that ball kind of high into the back of the end zone would be the ideal place to put it. If that window right there is not there, where you can laser it in there, then throw it high to the back of the end zone here and let Darnell Mooney, either he makes the play or nobody makes the play. That's what I think would have been the correct throw for this play right here, because the window just was too tight, I think, for Andy Dalton to fit that ball into there. And again, like I said before, he throws it behind the target. So it was not a great decision, not a great throw by Andy Dalton. We're going to see from the tight angle right here that Andy Dalton, again, he's going to have a window here, but it's for a specific type of throw. So we see right here, the linebacker is sitting in that window right there to get the ball to Darnell Mooney on the post. And the safety right here, he's eventually going to take Cole Kmet on this play and come down, crash down Cole Kmet, which leaves the back of the end zone open. Now, I'm not saying that Andy Dalton should be lobbing this thing to the back of the end zone. It still has to have some velocity on it to get to the back of the end zone here. But he can't try to rifle it and laser it in there on a line because the linebacker is right there. So he has to get this thing, and you're going to see Darnell Mooney right here working to the back of the end zone right there. I would think throwing it to the E right there, throwing it to the back of the end zone, to the E right there in the back of the end zone, that would have been the perfect spot to try and throw this ball. And unfortunately, Andy Dalton just throws it on a line way behind Darnell Mooney, and this throw had no chance. And that basically set the tone for the rest of the game right here. So the next thing I want to cover here are some of the fourth down conversion failures that the Bears had. So getting to these fourth down conversions right here, the Bears had 3 failed fourth down conversions in this game. This is the first one I have right here. What the Bears are going to be running right here is you have a drag route from Cole Kmet underneath, a slant to Allen Robinson, and then you have a curl from Mooney in the slot with a post on the top of the screen from Marquise Goodwin here. And what Andy Dalton is trying to attack here is find Allen Robinson on the slant route here, which is not a terrible idea, in theory here, because Allen Robinson's got off coverage here. And they've executed, and Allen Robinson, he's a great route runner here. So you expect him to get open on this play against off coverage and eat this play up. But unfortunately, he's going up against Jillian Ramsay. So Jillian Ramsay is going to read this thing perfectly and just breaks it up on Allen Robinson here and just blankets him in coverage. And I think personally, what we're going to see here is the Rams are going to bring a 5-man blitz on this play from the linebacker at the top of the screen right there. He's going to come free on this play as the offensive line is going to slide to the right on this play, basically a free runner right here. And the ideal play to make when a blitzer is, a linebacker is blitzing on this play is to get the ball to Cole Kmet on the drag route on this play. Because as we're going to see right here, that opens up the throw window, and Cole Kmet has all the open space in the world. He's wide open on this play. And this is what Andy Dalton does ever since his days back in Cincinnati, where he's going to lock, when it comes to these quick throws right here on these 3rd and 4th and shorts and whatnot, he's going to lock onto his main primary target here, which is Allen Robinson. He's going to lock onto his main number 1 wide receiver, and he's throwing it to him regardless of what the coverage is. And, again, I think against most cornerbacks, like against cornerbacks that aren't Jillian Ramsay, I think that's not a terrible decision. Unfortunately, you're throwing the ball against Jillian Ramsay, and he just breaks this thing up because that's what Jillian Ramsay does. And to top things off, as we're going to see from the tight here, Andy Dalton does not throw a great ball in this one as well. Like, it's not a good pass in this one, I thought. We're going to see it right here. I feel like if Andy Dalton, if he throws this a little bit to the inside, I think Allen Robinson catches that no problem. And we're talking about a first down here. But unfortunately, he throws it to the inside shoulder of Allen Robinson, and that allows Jillian Ramsay to come in here and make a play on it. Again, not ideal all around for Andy Dalton this play. Not a great play. So this is the second one here. I'm not going to drop the scheme on this play, but I want you to watch the offensive line of this one. So what's going to happen here on this play is that Andy Dalton, Allen Robinson is going to have a slant at the top of the screen once again against Jillian Ramsay, and Jillian Ramsay shuts Allen Robinson down in this play. Like, Jillian Ramsay is on a different level for quarterbacks. Like, Allen Robinson is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL against man-to-man, one-on-one coverage, and Jillian Ramsay just shuts him down in this play. This is where Andy Dalton's trying to go with the ball originally. Jillian Ramsay shuts it down, so Andy Dalton tries to move through his progressions, and if he has enough time here, we're going to see, I think it's Damian Williams as the running back in the backfield, but Damian Williams is going to be wide open in the flats at the bottom of the screen, and he's going to have all the space in the world to pick up yards after the catch. So if Andy Dalton would have had enough time in this play, he would have had enough time to get the completion here to Damian Williams and get a first down and maybe then some on this play. We're going to watch it right here. Just watch, look how wide open Damian Williams is on this play. Like, he's going to, if Andy Dalton gets this ball off here, that's an easy first down right here, because I think that's David Montgomery, actually. So it's David Montgomery. He's wide open, and we know that David Montgomery, when he gets the ball in space, he's going to break tackles and get those extra yardage right there. So David Montgomery is wide open this play. How does Andy Dalton not get the ball there? Well, let's look at the tight here, because we're going to see a pass protection breakdown once again. Like I said, the offensive line got their butts whooped in this game. We're watching the left side of the offensive line between Cody White here and Jason Peters. Cody White here is going to get whooped by Aaron Donald here, which hesitates. Jason Peters is long enough to where the edge rusher on this play gets around him and gets to Andy Dalton for the strip sack. So that's what happens here. So Cody White here gets beat right off the snap right there. Jason Peters, he's worried about Aaron Donald wrecking this play, but before you know, there's the edge rusher screaming off the edge right there, and it's an easy sack right there. So again, a few factors go to this thing. Jillian Ramsay taking out Allen Robinson on the initial read. Andy Dalton, before he gets to his check down, protection breaks down on him. Nothing much Andy Dalton can do on this play. So that fourth down conversion is more so on the offensive line and Jillian Ramsay being a stud at cornerback rather than Andy Dalton making a mistake there. But it's just, you gotta hold out in pass protection right there. It's still a quick passing play regardless. So the offensive line got to see better play from them. All right, this is the last fourth down conversion try here. Honestly, this is the 4th and 15 play. So there isn't a good, honestly, in my opinion, there isn't a good play call for a 4th and 15 play, especially against a defense with a clear pass rushing advantage over your offensive line and a secondary that's playing everything deep and not letting you get anything deep on them all game. There isn't a great play call here, in my opinion. But what the Bears are running here is a basic sail concept here to Darnell Mooney on the bottom of the screen here. And as we're going to see here, the cornerback right here is just playing it perfectly at the sticks. Nothing else you can do right there. I'm not going to add too much analysis to this. It's just that, good coverage by the Rams right here. And again, I would like to have them have more receivers going deep on this play. But again, against cover 4, you want to attack the sidelines. You want to attack the outside cornerback on those types of plays. And unfortunately, Darnell Mooney, couldn't win the route that one. Unfortunate. And we're seeing from the tight right here. Again, the protection, I think, holds up long enough. Yeah, it does. A pretty good protection on this play. Good coverage. Nothing you can do right there. All right, so this is a very interesting play. So, again, this is an example. I'm going to go back here. This is an example of, again, the Bears are trying to go deep against the Rams here. And we're going to see, once again, that the offensive line does not allow them to execute right here because it just falls up. Aaron Donald just whips Cody Whitehair once again in pass pro and wrecks this play for them. So I think what we're going to see here is a play that the Bears run quite a bit, and that's a fake screen with a wheel from the slot wide receiver down the sideline. They run this play. They ran this play all the time with Trubisky in 2018 and 19. This is a regular staple of the Nagy offense where they run all these wide receiver screens to set up these deep shots off of the screens later on in the game. That's what they're running right here to David Williams to the top of the screen over there. And conceptually, from a passing concept wise, I think it actually might have worked. The key to watch here is the safety at the top of the screen right there. So this is about the time where Andy Dalton would be making the throw if he had clean protection on this play. And as we can see right here, Allen Robinson has beaten his man. Darnell Mooney is taking the safety out of the play on this one. There is a throwing window, I think, here to the sideline where if Andy Dalton would have had time, the play is open here. Now, as we're going to see, I think Taylor Rapp, the safety here, he doesn't quite fully commit to Darnell Mooney, so you probably would have had to throw this ball with a little bit of a more of a bullet pass to the pylon here or to the sideline to avoid Taylor Rapp getting back into this play to pick that ball off. But with that said, there is a little bit of a window here where if you had time to step to the throw and make that throw, I think for sure, I think Justin Fields, if he had a clean pocket, he would definitely have the ability to make that throw into that window right there for a touchdown in this play. Unfortunately, as I kind of alluded to the entire time, Aaron Donald wrecks this thing and beats Cody Whitehair on this play. Gives you no chance of having it work. So we're going to see Cody Whitehair get beat. Before Andy Dalton can even execute his fake, Aaron Donald is in his lap. There's nothing Andy Dalton can do right here. And obviously, Andy Dalton, you'd like him to throw the ball away in this play. And if it's Justin Fields, maybe he has the ability to escape and extend the play and maybe run for a few yards on this one. That's not Andy Dalton's game. Andy Dalton, if you get pressure on him right away, the play is pretty much done at that point. So very unfortunate. All right, so that's enough talk about the offense. Let's talk about the defense because there is a lot of bad right here. And specifically, I want to cover Sean McVay, head coach of the Rams, basically exploiting, I should say, the Bears' coverage schemes and what they're trying to do with their cover 6. So what the Bears have run a lot of with their cover 2 high safety shells is a lot of cover 4, a lot of cover 6. And this is what the Bears are running on this player here. They're running a cover 6. So you have at the bottom of the screen with Jalen Johnson and Eddie Jackson, quarter with Deshaun Gibson running a cover 2, basically a half field coverage at the top of the screen right there. So quarter, half. Kindle Vildor at the top of the screen is running an underneath coverage, underneath the zone, I should say. So essentially what you have is cover 4 at the bottom of the screen, cover 2 at the top of the screen. And Sean McVay, he had a lot of plays dialed up to expose his coverage and get big plays off of it. And we're going to see this here with this first touchdown that Stafford throws in this game. Basically what this play is they had this curl at the top of the screen to occupy Deshaun Gibson long enough at the cover 2 zone right there. And this post route right here at the bottom of the screen from Van Jefferson, it's basically designed to be with the play action, the rollout game. It's designed to get the linebackers moving forward, wash them out of the play, and get a one-on-one coverage with Eddie Jackson at the top of the screen on the post route. And Eddie Jackson, just simply put, does a bad job of covering this play. So we're going to see Eddie Jackson right here. He overplays the corner out in this play. So Eddie Jackson has to know that he does not have inside help in this play. He might be expecting inside help on this play from Deshaun Gibson. But again, Deshaun Gibson's responsibility isn't to cover that. His responsibility is to cover the deep half of the field to the sideline to the top of the screen right here. So he's not focused on that wide receiver. That's Eddie Jackson's responsibility to cover the wide receiver with inside help for Jalen Johnson. And he just completely overplays this to the sideline here and gets roasted by Van Jefferson on this play. And then to make matters worse, they don't even try to tackle him at the end, which is just bad, all around bad from Eddie Jackson on that play. And we're going to see for the end zone angle right here. Again, this is a reason why you run a lot of play action, because you can get rid of the pass rush essentially on these types of plays. So they run the play action to the left over here. They get the entire defense moving that way, and that artificially creates a wide open pocket for Matt Stafford, who has all day to throw. Good throw, and then just bad tackling. And then we're going to see later on in the game, in the second half over here, again, another similar situation. There's no play action in this play. But again, once again, the Bears are running cover 6 on this play. So quarter, half. So quarters to the top of the screen, essentially cover 2 to the bottom of the screen. And, there's a lot of debate on Twitter in this game from this play about, who was wrong on this play. Did Deshaun Gibson mess up on this play? Like, did Marquise Christian mess up on this play in the slot here? And basically, from my understanding of cover 6 and the Fangio scheme and what their coverage responsibilities are, my understanding is that Marquise Christian, in this particular coverage in cover 6, because he's on the cover 2 side of the formation here, his job against a slot wide receiver that's running a vertical route up the seam, his job is to carry the slot wide receiver on the vertical route right here. It is not Deshaun Gibson's responsibility to cover that wide receiver on this play. So again, this is the concept that the Rams are running on offense right here. 2 deep curls in this play to occupy the safeties, with the slot running a seam route in the middle of the field right here. So Christian on this play, he has to carry Cooper Kupp on this play all the way to the end zone essentially. And he just, whether it's a miscommunication, whether it's something that maybe Deshaun Desai has a different coverage rule for this that Deshaun Gibson didn't execute off of, but basically Christian thinks that he's only supposed to carry Cooper Kupp for so long and then pass it off to Deshaun Gibson on this play, and he just basically just stops covering him, and that leads to the coverage bust for this touchdown. So again, I don't know exactly what Desai is teaching for how to run this coverage against this particular type of concept here. Again, from my understanding, Christian's supposed to carry Cooper Kupp all the way to the end zone here because Gibson has to cover the deep half of the field to the sideline. So that's my understanding of it. And again, the Bears just, whatever they're supposed to do, they did not do it correctly, obviously. And then just continuing on with the secondary in this game. It was a rough game for the secondary in this one. And I'm not going to draw it up here, the concept, but we're just going to see that, the Rams, their offensive game plan was to attack the slot in this game. They attacked Marquise Christian all game this one. And this is another example where, they get Cooper Kupp isolated against Christian one-on-one on this play, and it's just way too easy. Way too easy right there. Not a good tackle either from Christian once he gets the ball in his hands. So, again, the secondary for the Bears is a huge issue right now because Eddie Jackson and Deshaun Gibson, they're not playing well right now at the safety position. Jalen Johnson, I thought he had a solid game in this one. But Kindle Vildor, he's still very new on the outside corner right there, and their nickel spot is just it's a disaster right now. They don't have a starting caliber nickel on the roster right now, and that's just going to lead to a lot of issues when you have other guys not playing up to their standard, not playing up to their potential. All right, last play I'll show here. This is just an example of the run defense kind of one of the things that you're missing without Eddie Goldman in the lineup, which Eddie Goldman did not play in this game. I want you to focus on Khyiris Tonga at nose tackle. Got into a little bit of a debate on Twitter about, was this a good rep by Tonga or not? It is a bad rep by Tonga on this play. And I'm not trying to, come on harsh on Tonga here. He's a rookie 7th-round pick for a reason. Like, I'm not expecting him to be this dominant nose tackle right off the bat. But, again, we're going to see right here. So the Bears, again, like I explained in the Titans preseason video, the Bears, their defensive scheme against the run is the nose tackle. He's got to guard. He's got to basically defend a gap and a half in this play. So he has to defend the gap in between the left guard and the center on this play, but he has to also be able to hold his ground to where he can get back to the gap if the running back cuts back off of that. Unfortunately, Tonga, his pad level is too high in this play, and he just gets washed out. So this is just something that you're missing with out Eddie Goldman here. It's unfortunate. Also, another thing to point out here is I want you to watch Alec Ogletree. I'll show it from this angle. You get a better view of it. Alec Ogletree also does a poor job on this play where he totally over pursues. He's a linebacker to the bottom of the screen right next to Eddie Jackson right there. Completely overplays this one. He actually goes into Roquan Smith's gap on this play. So Alec Ogletree is supposed to play the backside gap, I think, on this play to defend against the cutback, and he just completely overextends. So not a great job of run defense on the goal line right here. You hope that gets improved, though. I think they definitely have the ability to get better at this as the season goes along. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up there for the film breakdown. So overall, just a very poor showing in general for this Bears game. Although again, it really wasn't unexpected. Like I expected the Rams to thoroughly beat down the Bears in this game. While I don't want to overact too much to week one, it is only week one. Keep that in mind. There are some things that were confirmed to me based off of what I thought of this team going into the season. So, number one, I thought the secondary was going to be awful going into the year, one of the worst in the NFL, and they showed that in this game that they have a lot of work to do. They were not good in this game, and you can say the same thing about the offensive line. They were bad. They were not good, and the injuries keep on piling up for them at left tackle. If only they had a serviceable starter that was healthy all the time that they could have kept on the roster. Oh, well, it is what it is. They decided to cut that guy in the offseason. Oh, well. But, yeah, now they're down to their fourth-string tackle, essentially, with Elijah Wilkinson. We'll see how that goes because the Bengals, they have a pretty good pass rush. Although I think Jason Peters is expected to be back healthy. So, with that said, though, Jason Peters, he looked like a 39-year-old left tackle who's just working his way into game shape at this point. So Jason Peters, he still has a long way to go before I feel comfortable with him at that left tackle spot, even though you do see flashes of him as a Hall of Famer that he is. Still not ideal. That offensive line needs a lot of work. The interior, need better pass protection there. Sam Mustipher still doesn't impress me. Like I tracked and graded their pass protection in this game, which you can find on the Bear Report as well. My Tracking the Trenches series. Jermaine Ifedi graded out as the best pass protector for me in this game, and when Jermaine Ifedi is your best pass protector, that's usually not a good sign. So a lot of work to be done there. And then finally here, Andy Dalton, he is what he is. He's a fine, average quarterback, like I said before. He's efficient going through his reads. He gets the ball out quick. He's generally accurate. He can make some plays with his legs. He's deceptively athletic at this stage in his career, although he's still up there in age, so not quite the athlete he used to be. But I'm sorry. I'm tired of the Andy Dalton experience. I just get the Justin Fields already. Like I get it what they're trying to do here. They don't want to ruin Justin Fields, so to speak. They want him to learn. They want him to get some experience going through game planning before he's out there, and they want to make sure he's ready to go before he starts. I get that, and this offensive line isn't ideal, but he just brings so much more to the table. And I'm confident that Justin Fields that he wouldn't be ruined against a good pass rush by getting hit a lot. So I don't know. I just think you should start the rookie and this offense. I wouldn't say it'll be a good offense, but it would certainly be a lot more explosive with him in the lineup. In terms of some positives, I thought the run game, again, like I said, they had a lot of creative scheming to help open up holes in this one. Montgomery, he looks poised to have a very big year. I really like what I saw. I like what I saw of David Montgomery in this game. He had the most yards after contact per rush in week one across the NFL. And I expect that to be a trend that continues this year, both because the offensive line isn't very good and because David Montgomery looks very good right now. He looks a lot faster too. And, it seems like the Bears are committed to being a run-first team in 2021. And, say what you will about that. I'm personally not a huge fan of run-first offense because I think running the ball in general is less efficient. So I'm not entirely hyped up about that, but if you can run the ball efficiently, I think that'll raise the floor of your offense as a whole. And we saw it here. This was definitely some progress, I think, since last year. Because if you remember that Rams game last year, and even 2 years ago with Mitch Trubisky starting, oh my gosh, like those games were brutal to get through. The offense couldn't move the ball whatsoever. At least in this game, the offense was able to move the ball pretty consistently and take advantage of yards after the catch and things like that. Like they weren't doing any of that in 2020 or 2019 against the Rams. So there is some progress here, just not enough because of what they have at offensive line and quarterback and just some of the things, some of the scheming things going on there and the execution. Some things I want to see more of going forward, more play action. If you're going to have a run-first approach in 2021, which I think the Bears want to do, you cannot have it where you're only having, according to my charting, 24% of the Bears dropbacks involving some form of play action. That has to go up, especially with this offensive line. Like, the offensive line is not going to be able to hold up for deep shots down the field. You need to use play action. You need to move the pocket a little bit. And that's how you're going to be able to generate more explosive plays and more deep shots down the field. And you can't do that with a basic drop back passing game without any motion before the snap, which is what the Bears did a lot in this game. So I want to see more play action, a lot more bootleg stuff. Like, if they had to go to a full-on Trubisky treatment of the offense, which is what I call it, which is what they did late in the year last year, where they did a bunch of play action and bootlegs and all that stuff, moving the pocket. If they have to do that to protect this offensive line, do it. Like, because they're not, currently speaking, until they start Justin Fields, they're not going to be able to generate any explosive plays with Andy Dalton in there if they're not using play action and moving the pocket for him and getting him outside the pocket where he has room to go through his reads and hit the deep shots down the field. And then the defensive side of the ball just needs to play better, plain and simple. But I'm not too confident with that with this secondary right now. They are rough right now. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the Bears in their Week 1 game against the Rams. Obviously, not the start we were all hoping for, but it is what it is, and we'll just have to see how this team responds against the Bengals at home in Week 2. Once again, if you're a fan of our film breakdown work here at the Bear Report, please make sure to like and subscribe below. Follow us on Twitter and look for our work on the Bear Report website, where we will be producing a ton of content throughout the 2021 season. We'll look at articles, podcasts, YouTube videos, you name it, all that stuff, all on the Bear Report website. Check it out. I want to thank everyone for tuning into this video. And until next time, bear down, Bears fans. And hopefully my next film review is a breakdown of a Chicago Bears win. But, we'll see. Have a great weekend, everybody.